Madame, Monsieur, bonsoir. Aujourd'hui, nous dossier de la rédaction consacrée à une personnalité. Une personnalité que beaucoup de monde dans Maurice connaît. Prem Rawat, c'est quelqu'un qui est très connu à Maurice. Par exemple, il y a une conférence à Kotlinko sur la paix. 2500 de monde fin bouger vite, Nalda Swami Vivekananda, juste pour l'écoute de ce discours, pour vous dire qu'il est de plus en plus bien connu dans Maurice. Qui s'est écouté au juste avec lui? C'est quelqu'un qui, depuis 50 ans, cause la paix dans le monde, jusqu'à l'in fait un livre, par exemple, l'in lance un livre qui est intitulé Splitting the Arrow. Là-dedans, l'idée qu'il y a une cause avec 15 millions d'immunes dans 250 la ville du monde depuis 50 ans, donc les causé. Juste l'année dernière, par exemple, une cause avec 1,2 million d'immunes dans 116 événements qui sont organisés pour les adresse Benjamin Lolape. We have with us Mr. Prem Rawat. You've spoken to 15 million people since 50 years. My first question, Mr. Rawat, why peace?
Because without peace, everything is so incomplete. And this is very obvious. We are more prosperous now on the face of this earth. More technology has been deployed. We have computers, we have cell phones, we can communicate whenever we want across the world. We have faster trains, we have faster planes, we have more of the universe mapped. We finally have a radar mapping of the earth, and we have all this stuff. And it's really not working too well because now we live in fear. All the stuff is not going to help us achieve peace. Peace is peace. Now, I'm not saying that it's one or the other. No, we need both. Absolutely, we need both. There should be technology. The technology will grow. We need it. It makes life a lot easier. But at the same time, we need peace. Peace is the core of a human being. That's the core strength. Without the core strength, everything is hollow. And this is what we can see. With all the technology that we have, we cannot stop stupid acts of terrorism, which are affecting everyone's life on the face of this earth and causing a fear. We live in fear. We want to fly, we want to go places, but everybody is like, I don't know if I'm going to survive the other side of it. This is terrible. This is not prosperity. This is blind prosperity. And so that's why peace is more important today than it's ever been. However, I have always said that the need for peace has always been there. I started speaking about peace since I was 4, and this is what I've been telling people. Hey, without peace, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah, but since 50 years, you've been speaking about peace, and today everywhere we see war, but contrary to what you preach, how do you feel?
I feel that there is something I can do, and keep on going. Keep on going. There's more people listening to me now. Finally, it is hitting home on people that yes, we don't want these wars. We really don't want these wars. Because up till that point, there had been justifications, and we would buy the justification. Just like, why is there poverty? Why are people poor? Oh, because they're past karma. And people are saying, no, it has nothing to do with the past karma. These are government policies that are causing people to be poor. So it is time to look at reality. And people are starting to look at reality, and I feel very hopeful. I feel very, very hopeful. Government leaders are starting to listen to me. I have spoken to army officials. I have spoken to Navy officials. I have spoken to people in prison. I have spoken to, and this is the interesting thing. My message goes out to 129 prisons alone in India, and then in Africa, and there's hardly any continent where this isn't starting to spread. And the amazing thing is, even though the peace education program is targeted towards the inmates, the wardens are getting interesting too, because they're saying, we listen to this stuff, and it affects us. We need peace too, not just the inmates. So it's the same thing. People are starting to look at reality. And the reality is wars are not, this is quite contrary to what I speak about. So I did a little research of who this guy was. And sure enough, he was a guy long time ago, time of the Romans and the Greeks and all that stuff, he did come up with this saying, if you want peace, prepare for war. But he's also the one who wrote the manual for fighting for the Romans.
Okay.
So he was very enamored by war. So, prepare for war if you want peace. I say, no. You want peace, look inside of you. This is what Socrates said. Know thyself. And that's, to me, what's important, to have the inner peace.
And we see here that you've got awards on life, our achievement awards on peace, like Nelson Mandela and Hillary Clinton. You have also talked to prisoners. Who do you think is easier to convince?
I look at everyone as a human being. To me, these awards are not for me. They are for my effort. And my effort is the fruit of those people who are also interested in peace. So really, these awards for all those people on the planet Earth who are interested in peace. So far, I talk to people in prison, they are like, there is no such thing as peace, there never will be such thing as peace, and don't talk to us about peace. Slowly, they start to listen to the message, and they realize how peace is so important for them. Same way with the government officials, because we can give them different names, we can give them different titles, but they're all ultimately human beings. And if we just approach that, a human being wanting peace, then everybody listens to it the same way. As soon as you start talking to the title, you're going to get resistance. But if you start talking to the heart opens and a person listens.
And what's happening nowadays in France, in Syria, and other countries? How do you think we can prevent these things?
This is a consequence. The prevention should have started a long time ago. The entire importance of peace was never brought up. All that was brought up was how you need to have this cell phone. I mean, when you drive on the road, in any town, in any city, how many advertisements do you see that are telling you, look within you to find peace? How many billboards are there in this world that echo the statement of Socrates, know thyself? No. Watch this, drink this, go there, fly this, have this. This is what you see.
That's commercial.
That's how it is. But this is billions and billions and billions and billions of dollars are spent eating into a human psyche so that they can sell you this stuff. They have to create their world. I'm not against advertisement. Believe me, I'm not against advertisement. This is fine. But somewhere a human being should be told, you should know yourself.
And what's the big difference, as you used to say, the disease and the symptom? You used to say the disease and the symptom. So you have to cure the disease itself.
Yes, the ignorance is the biggest disease. Ignorance is the biggest disease. And people are starting to learn how to live with ignorance. This should be not tolerable. Your arm is broken and you're starting to live with the broken arm instead of seeking medical help to get that arm fixed. And this is what's happening. Oh, people say, this is normal. This is, give this explanation, give this explanation, give this explanation. I see the problem as the human beings have forgotten their humanity. When a human being forgets their humanity, there's going to be consequences. And the consequences are not going to be unlike the consequences that we are seeing in the world today.
So you're going to the utmost, innermost of that person, just to bring that element of peace out.
That's the only way to do it.
And how do you do it?
Absolutely, because I'll get to that. How do you do it? by again making that person aware of themselves. But lot of these acts that people do, they have to decide this is what they want. They have been given the explanation. They have been brainwashed. They've been told, you will do this and this will happen. Nobody has shown them a video of it and say, well, this is what heaven looks like. And if you do this, this is where you will go. And here's the room that is booked for you, and so on and so forth. No. They listen to it and they go, okay, I believe it, I believe it, I believe it, I believe it. Then they go, they make a decision, I will do it. Because they do not see the value in living on the face of this earth. How can we lose that value? There is a value of being here, of being alive. But if we're not in touch with that value, then what have we got? That is simply, somebody can come along and say, yeah, if you go away and you do this and you do this, you will go there. How miserable have we made it for each other? How miserable? You know, one thing we can do, if we can do misery, then we can do good too.
Yeah, that's a big question. You used to say, okay, be good, do good, always be good, and be good. But what happens if somebody comes and try to harm you? What do? You say, okay, I'm a peaceful person, I don't do anything.
No, you cannot do that. You have to take charge, but that's not the issue. Do we talk anymore? Do we know how to talk to each other? Do we know how to convey? We don't even do that to our children. This is how unhuman we have become. We don't even have good communication capabilities with our own offspring. Fathers don't listen to the children. Children don't listen to the fathers. Mothers don't listen to the children. Children don't listen to the mother. Husband doesn't listen to the wife. Wife doesn't listen to the husband. Government doesn't listen to the people, and people don't listen to the government. Non-listening, everywhere you go, non-listening. What do people want to hear? They want to hear what they want to hear. And if somebody can tell them whatever it is that they want to hear, great. If somebody comes and wants something from me, can I talk to him? No. He will most likely come with a gun and shoot me. Where did he get the gun from? Guns don't grow on trees. He sat down. He calculated. He went and he bought the gun. He thought about it. What have I done? Have I thought about it? What can I do? Oh yeah, let's make a bigger fence. So then what does the other guy do? Figure out how to jump the bigger fence. This is what happens. If the gun is too small, then what does he do? I have to buy a bigger gun. And this escalates. No humanity. Now, my message goes to prisons. Now, these people have obviously done something, and they're in the prison. I'm not there to judge them. The judge has already judged them. Society has said there is no good in you. You must be segregated. We don't want you as a part of us. You go there. If you improve, if you change your mind, we'll let you come out. If you don't, we'll put you back in. You think there is any goodness in these people?
There should be. And have you seen changes after your speech?
Absolutely. There's plenty of goodness. But nobody helped them discover it.
Come out.
Nobody. In the school, no. You are dumb, you are stupid, point one. Father, mother, you are terrible. You are a disappointment to our family. They were always told they're no good, 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 till they started believing they're no good. I go in there and say that's not true. There's goodness inside of you. There's goodness inside of you. When I first went to the first prison in Texas, San Antonio, I walked into the room and they had painted this beautiful mural of a story. that I had told them. And the story was about this lion cub that had walked out of the jungle and was almost dead. So the farmer went. One day, a real lion came out of the jungle. And when the real lion came out of the jungle, all the sheep got very scared and they all hid. And so did the lion cub. He hid. The lion, seeing another lion hiding, went up to the lion and said, "Hey, why are you hiding?" And he goes, "Oh, please, mister, don't eat me, don't eat me." He said, "What makes you think I'm going to eat you?" He said, "Well, I'm a sheep and you will eat me." He says, "You're not a sheep. Come." I'm abbreviating the story, but come. Yeah. So he took him to the lake, stood by the lake, and he said, "Look, you're not a sheep, you're a lion." They were so touched by this little story that this was the mural that they had painted on the wall. And when I walked in, I was so touched that this affected them, that nobody had told them who they were. How much time does it take? Do you know how much money is spent in prisons around the world? It's in trillions of dollars, and it's increasing because we keep making laws to protect us and take the ones we don't want and throw them in prison. And not once somebody says, "You know what? Can somebody help these people understand who they are so they don't do this?" Gangs have heard this message and turned 180 degrees around. Instead of being a gang, they became a gang for peace. They started actually going and talking to other gangs and talking about this. There's goodness inside every human being, but it is ignored.
Yeah, but there's also threats. For example, for Mauritius, you've seen the eagerness with which these people have come yesterday to listen to your speech. But what can be the threats to a small island like us?
It's same thing everywhere. I mean, because we are human, it affects us all the same way. You know, there are people who live in grand houses, have servants, have tons of cars, have plenty of money. You think they're happy? There's tension there too. You know, a thorn is a thorn. And whether you take that thorn and prick a poor person with it, he'll go ouch. Or you take a general and you prick him with it and he'll go ouch. Or you take somebody who is really rich, really learned. A thorn is a thorn, and how a person reacts to the thorn is the same way. It's the same thing. We have to understand we are human beings, and as human beings, there are some fundamental needs that we have. And the fundamental need that we have is to be content inside. This is why Socrates said, "Know thyself." Not your neighbor, not your house, not this, no, yourself. Because it is very, very important. You have a map. You have a map, and this map can show you how to get wherever you want to go. But only if you know where you are. If you don't know where you are on the map, that map is useless. First thing you have to do is figure out, I am here. You know, you see this, you are here. And because you're here, then you can say, this is where I want to go, and you can go there. Same thing, knowing who you are. Then you can interact, you can be, and in a place like Mauritius, very peaceful. There are other places that are very peaceful. People are very nice. Nature is very kind. But still, if it is empty inside, it's going to feel empty. And that peace also needs to come here. That's wherever I go. I don't care whether it's New York, whether it's Los Angeles, whether it's the tiny island. I was just in Cuba not long ago, and I'm talking about the same thing. There, it was a very different situation. Vegetables were very scarce. vegetables were very, very scarce. So only very fortunate people got to have a few vegetables. But people still wanted that peace. And people who were in touch with that peace inside of them were very fortunate and blessed, and they understood that. So this is what is universal. Our quest as human beings is universal.
Okay. Prem Rawat, over and above your speeches on peace, you also feed children around the world. You've got charity shows, or but you give allowances for children. Your idea is what behind it?
My idea behind it is, how can we make a difference? That's ultimately, that's what I want. You know, with my message of peace, I want to make a difference. And we can. We all combined, we can make a difference. And so I went to this area, and the children were so poor, that they were actually stealing food from a rat's nest and eating it. This is how bad the situation was. I said, what can I do for them? They said, well, you could build them a hospital. I said, yeah, I could build them a hospital, but I think they need food. No, build them a school. I said, but there's plenty of schools here. So I said, one thing they don't have is food, obviously. So I built a food for people facility. I didn't want politics to get involved. So I included the local chiefs. I said, you're in charge. We'll provide the food, we will cook it, we will provide the distribution, but you decide who comes here to eat. And because we got them involved, that kept the politics out. Kids started coming. We taught them, you should wash your hands. You should wash your hands. You will get good clean food, and the kitchen is impeccably clean. I mean, impeccably clean. Not a fly, not a moth, not a bug. Everything is screened, everything is washed, everything is clean. Food is clean, water is clean. We started giving them 1 meal a day. What were the consequences? All of a sudden, their health improved. The life expectancy went up. Second thing, for the first time since the schools had been open in that area, the kids graduated from schools and went on to university. First time. First time. Third thing, even I didn't expect this to happen. The crime rate plummeted, fell. Why? Because now with that one extra meal, people didn't need to steal. These are the same problems we've got everywhere. These are the basics of poverty. Opportunity to be able to have a future, opportunity to be able to have food, have access to medical facility, and have a shelter. Shelter they could make themselves. Hospitals were being provided by government and NGOs in the area. What was not being provided was one-time meal. So making that happen has changed the whole picture in that whole area because of that one-time meal. Now, this is a statistic, and it says that if we start saving only quarter of the food that we waste, so that means we could still waste 75% of the food, and if we just save 25% of the food that we waste, nobody would go hungry.
Everybody will get something to eat.
Everybody will get something to eat.
And now I'll make some reference to your book that you just published. First of all, the title, Splitting the Arrow. Why?
There's a story behind that, splitting the arrow. And this is about business of life. You know, this is not supposed to be a feel-good, book. This is actually the business of life. So far we are alive, we're all in business of life. And we don't understand that. And splitting the arrow comes from a very nice story that's in there. And the story goes that there was an archer, and he was very, very good. So he would go village to village, and he would show off his expertise in archery. And he would take one arrow, he would shoot it at the target, and then he would shoot another arrow and split the first arrow. That story. And he would go place to place, and one day he was showing off his expertise in archery, and he heard a sound from the back of the venue saying, it's only a matter of practice. It's only a matter of practice. So this really agitated him, because he thought that he was who he was because of him. And somebody is saying it's a matter of practice really, really irked him. So when he was finished with his exhibition, he went back looking for the guy. So he sees this guy sitting there with 2 big clay pots full of oil, a big bamboo thing, and empty bottles. So he goes over to him and says, "Hey, are you the person who keeps saying it's a matter of practice, it's a matter of practice?" He said, "Yes." He says, "What do you mean it's a matter of practice? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know that all these people come to see me?" He says, "Okay, just a second." So he lifted this huge pot of oil, put it on his shoulder, took the bottle, and poured oil from that clay pot into the bottle, filled it without spilling a drop. Then he looked at the archer and he said, "Now you do it." And the archer said, "I couldn't." He said, "You see, it's only a matter of practice. You have practiced archery, you have become good at it. I practice pouring oil, I have become good at it." The archer understood. So after I tell this story, I always ask my audience a question. What are you good at? How long does it take you to get angry? If it takes very short time to get angry, that means you practice anger. How long does it take you to get afraid? That means you practice fear. How quickly can you find yourself in the ocean of doubt? That means you practice doubt. You're not practicing peace, because then you would be good at peace. Whatever you practice, you will be good at. And that is splitting the arrow.
And I see there is something very nicely written. You know about people around you, but do you know yourself?
Exactly.
We come to the point of peace again. So thanks a lot, Prem Rawat, for being here, for having given us a nice interview, for your enlightened comments. Thanks a lot. We hope to see you soon again in Mauritius.
Thank you so much for having me, and it's been a pleasure. Thank you.
C'était donc Prem Rawat, un éminent personnalité qui a fait un discours dans plus de 50 pays à travers le monde, jusqu'à l'infini cause avec 15 millions de monde en 50 ans, les causes de la paix. Ce qui nous retenir, c'est chaque monde besoin qu'on lui-même avant tout, avant les connaître les autres monde, est bien important, communication pour amener la paix. Voilà, monsieur, merci. Bonsoir.